unending conversations about femininity that I see grown ASS men and women having on the internet. Who's feminine and who isn't? What it means to be feminine and what it means to be masculine. It's how I know that as a people, we are not really serious in this life. What's even more interesting to me when I see my people participate in these conversations is that the standard for femininity for them is based off the Europeanized standard of femininity. And I find it very interesting. The video I'm stitching right now, right, that's a woman quoting a racist white man, an enslaver, I believe Lily Lynch was, right? His standard of what it means to be feminine is what Auntie is quoting and saying that is the standard we as the people should live by. Like, I always just find it very interesting when I see African people, black people, try to live up to standards that were not created by their people, standards that are not for them. You want to force your way into it so bad when you have your own standards. Because we're talking about femininity now in the context of Europeanized or European standard of femininity. Femininity through the lens of a European man or whatever, right? That is what it is for them. It wasn't what femininity looks like in the African continent, in African cultures. It wasn't like that. We bloody had queens that were ruling kingdoms. We have women that used to go to war. They led men in war. War, English, whatever. But we want to sit here in that comment section, or you people are already sitting there in that comment section talking about, yes, it's true, we really miss the mark. What mark are you people talking about? Because that mark never existed on the continent. Femininity on the continent is very different. We are living in this same continent where now women, they spearhead certain industries. I'm from Nigeria, right? In the Nigerian society, marketplace, for example, now women get up. Now them be the odogus for them, they spearhead that industry. Hair business in Nigeria, now women get up. We spearhead industry. We have our sections here where we work, and we have been doing this historically. I don't know how it is across, the continent, right? So I can speak specifically for my country. But I've spoken with a Rwandan friend of mine. You guys know him, African Diaries. It's on here. He tells me the same thing in Rwanda. It's women that spearhead this industry. So women go to work on this continent and have historically been going to work. They get things where they do to get their own for corner, historically. But you people sit in the comment sections of videos like this talking about we've missed the mark. Like, I just find it hard to understand where exactly we think we are coming from as a people. Because people want women indoors so bad, you have now borrowing into the European mentality of how they wanted their women. Women were outside on this continent doing what they wanted to do, if they wanted to do it. And no, this is not to say that we don't have issues here on the continent that we need to tackle as a people, right, and deal with as regards to, gender disparity and whatnot. But I'm just saying that if we want to call the spade that is, and keep things 100 years, both historically and looking at our present time, waiting on they talk versus waiting really they go down for here is very different. We have our own standard of femininity. I know what femininity looks like on the continent. It's not that being indoors, wearing apron, that's not the look of African femininity. And we did not have one look of African femininity, if I should even add that. There was not a singular look to it, by the way. So I don't know, let's just be getting this thing straight when we're conversing. Like a woman came on here and she's using an enslaver's standard of what femininity is, and you guys are eating it up in the comments. A racist is who is telling you people what femininity should look like and how a feminine woman is supposed to act. A racist. That's crazy. That's crazy. I remember when I first came by this conversation, the first question I was asking myself is, am I feminine? Because it's something that I've never thought about as an African. whether I'm feminine or not. Before now that this whole feminine thing just started going everywhere and everybody now is insane because of it. I had never for the how many years of my life thought about my femininity until I started coming by this wild content, and here I'm wondering if I am, would I be considered feminine? But then slowly, the more I consume the content, I start to realize that what femininity is to these people is very much far away from Africa, very far away from it. And it's very interesting how a lot of the people, a lot of the Africans who like to indulge in these conversations, talk about, in pre-colonial Africa. This is like they know what pre-colonial Africa is. Like the only thing you will basically know about Africa is post-colonization. After the white man and their standard infiltrated the continent and started forcing this standard onto people using their Bible. That is the idea of femininity, of what roles are supposed to be like. That is where you people got it from today. But you people want to make that post-colonial culture of gender roles that was brought by the colonizers, how our historical ancient ways. No, you can't do that. The history says different. The history says different. Our history, our historical figures, our ancestors, and how they walked this earth, their action says different. You cannot make the colonizer standards ours. You cannot turn it into our culture. Because we have been practicing it for 400 years doesn't make it African. That's very much colonizer standard. It's a similar thing Africans do with dressing. They see a young girl wearing a crop top and all of a sudden they tag her immoral, indecent. Talking about how Africans are not like this. In African culture, we cover up. Which African culture are you talking about? Because our cultural attires says very different. Look at Igbo women and their cultural attire. What did they wear? Not be crop top and mini skirt with their cultural dress. Crop top and mini skirt started in Africa. Off shoulder started in Africa. So when you people say African culture we cover up, look at our South African women. I believe it's the if I'm not mistaken, I stand corrected here, please. The Eswatini, is it Soto people? Please correct me. The cultural attire for like young maidens, nothing. But you people want to talk about African culture and how modest and cover up we are supposed to be. This is what happens when a group of people don't know who they are. They don't know where they are coming from. So how can they know where they are going? So of course they believe the colonizers' culture is their culture. Because they have been practicing it for 400 years now. Because it was injected into the continent during colonization and slavery by the colonizers and enslavers. Now you think their culture is yours. You think their standard is yours. And with your ignorance, you utter these words with full confidence, with your full chest, you talk out. Like it's just very interesting to me that some people have not really been able to put these things together and see how insane it actually comes out, because it's crazy. The European standard of femininity is not the standard of femininity on this continent. It has never been our standard. Your ancestors did not roll like that. Stop the cap. Stop the cap. Just say you drank the Kool-Aid so much it has gotten to your brain and you can't see anything beyond that. Just say that. Don't target African, please. All of that subjugating thing that they have going that you people want so badly, I don't even know what it does for you people. And again, now that I'm on this conversation, let me just say this in conclusion. All these men that want women who are at home, shall look for the ones that want to stay home, shall we? Don't go and look for women who want to be outside like their ancestors doing, so that you can now tame them like European men used to tame their women and lock them at home. Don't do that to them, please. Let them soar and fly high if that's what they want to do. If you want a woman that will be indoors only, there are women who want to be indoors. Women who share your belief. Go and look for those ones and leave women who want to be outside alone. Thank you.
So you've heard Ivie Anita. This is a YouTuber that I've been... There are just so many YouTubers that I have been meaning to make reaction and analysis videos on their content because it resonates with me, and this is very important because the way Black women and girls are lost is insane. She raised a very serious point that Africans are proclaiming this obvious foreign culture as African culture, these obvious, disagreeable, disruptive, conflicting culture as African culture. It goes deeper than this. Africa has gone through waves of European invasions. It didn't just start with the pre-colonial British rule or even the Portuguese. When you study the Phoenicians, the Carthaginians, the Sumerians, the ancient Egyptians, these were all African people. That is how far back we have been dealing with European unprovoked, unsolicited aggression, violence. So I have to say respect to this girl. I really enjoyed this clip, and I will be doing more reviews of her videos, because I have actually had some of her videos that I have put aside with the intention of doing a reaction or an analysis of those videos. Just big up to her. I'm Nigerian as well, like her, you know, and as the world starts to globalize, these foreign concepts start to get closer to us. And it is very important that we realize the necessity. It's very important to us that we realize the necessity to protect ourselves from ideologies that are alien to us, ideologies that conflict with us, ideologies that limit us and causes chaos amongst us. It's very important. You come to the West, the black women here, it's this Western philosophies have really devastated them. It has really devastated them. And that's why you see an increasing number of them when they have some form of opportunity, rather than have compassion for the blacks here. Their compassion aligns with that of the European, particularly the European male. You know, take a look at Candace Owens, for instance. You know, that's all I have to say for now. So until next time, take care of your lovely selves. And remember, life is beautiful and worth living.